All right, podcast community, welcome back. My name is Cameron King. This is Three Questions Podcast, episode number 83, a solo dolo episode for me. If this is your first time listening, welcome back. Or excuse me, if this is your first time listening, welcome. I haven't had my morning coffee yet, but it's been a couple weeks since I've launched another podcast. But Three Questions Podcast is primarily a hard-hitting three questions get asked, and I will answer those as succinctly as possible in about 5 minutes each or so. I started this podcast from my mentor and consulting company where I work with people on professional issues as well as business issues, help them get forward, set boundaries, protocols, non-negotiables. A lot of times it's things that my clients will bring to the table or things that I've experienced, and I'm just trying to give you 2 cents. There's no need to listen to a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hour podcast. And there are a lot of great podcasts out there in length, but I think people are primarily going to podcasts and making podcasts to share their experience, give 2 cents, and to try and help each other because we all learn different things at different times. Anyways, today, a lot of my clients have been going through challenging relationship issues. Mercury's in retrograde, and when Mercury's in retrograde, it means that it looks like the planet Mercury is going backwards or against everything else in the sky. I dove into astrology pretty much in college because I wanted to be able to talk to chicks about it. And then I started to understand things about uh, Vedic astrology, Chinese astrology, numerology, and there's actually some very profound things. Millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. And I think there's a lot to it. Doesn't mean that you can sacrifice your whole identity to your sun sign or your moon sign, but I think that the more you learn about astrology, the better you are to be able to learn about yourself as well as other people. Look into human design if you've never done it, but I highly recommend reading some books and getting aware of these things because it is beneficial for you in the long run. Anyways, wow, I need to close that. That is horrible. And let's go into the first question. So I'll set my timer for the first 5 minutes, but we have some relationship questions coming up. And I want to inform you that, hey, this is just my 2 cents. This isn't anything super personal. I'm just going to give a high level approach to how I answer these questions so that you can take away something and gain some insight in about 15 to 20 minutes. So, question number one, episode number 83. How does a no contact rule impact individuals with different attachment styles, and what role does it play in emotional healing? So, for those of you that don't know, the no contact rule is essentially for people once you've gotten dumped or a relationship ends. No contact is simply used as a way to either heal yourself and focus on yourself, which I really don't like platitudes when people say these kind of plain things. Holy cow. I apologize about that. But what I'll tell you about attachment styles is that for you, how does a no contact rule apply for you? You can implement this as soon as you get dumped or a relationship ends, in the fact that once someone breaks up with you, you immediately cease contact. You remove them from social media, you don't text them, you don't call them, you don't watch their stories, you don't look at old photos. And this allows you to detox from an addiction. Same way that you would detox from alcohol or dopamine or drugs or sugar, for instance. You're trying to starve the neurons that have attached memories and have attached thoughts. And when we fall in love with someone, we fall in love with their potential, and we fall in love with who they could make us be and how they could make us feel in the future. And we tend to attach our identity and so much emotional connection. Obviously, the more time that you spend with someone, the deeper that connection is in your brain. You have decades of memories at some points. And my clients who have coming out of long-term relationships, they too have great attachments to the people who were formerly in their lives. I think the no contact rule, people are sold the no contact rule on the internet as a way to manipulate or get their ex to come back to them, which sometimes it works. But if that person hasn't done the work to become a better person, to heal themselves, to understand themselves a little bit better, and you haven't also done the work by you just implementing no contact in order to get them back, that's inherently wrong. You do need to take the time after a breakup to level up. And that means in business, in finance, updating your goals, getting back into routines, developing new hobbies, start doing more of the things that you like to do. I love to work and I love to, wow, I need to turn that off. I just got a new computer. My apologies. But I think that when you inherently put in the work for yourself, you start reading books, you start doing more things, that make you actually happy, that leveling up of your own vibration is inherently what can draw someone back if there's still attraction there. But I think people should inherently do a no contact rule if they are truly trying to move on for about 2 to 3 months, meaning 60 to 90 days. You have to start those neural connections and start building new memories, a new identity, new habits, new routines, and start to get to know yourself again. Obviously, when someone leaves our life, that can affect our self-worth, that can affect your identity, it can give you a lot of anxiety and depression. And by you just staying at home, not getting enough outside time, not getting enough vitamin D, not filling your body with good foods, and maybe continuing to distract yourself, this causes you to actually become more anxious. I tell you this as a guy in his 30s, previously in breakups, I would just get back on the dating apps, put myself out there, try to meet new women, and try to just find somebody to take on what I had lost, this little hole inside of me. Now, after breakups, my protocol has simply been okay, no sugar, no drinking, no alcohol, no porn, no vices, no addictions. And I tend to just really let myself fall back to baseline so I can build that baseline up from the ground up. And if I'm able to do that while doing no contact, yes, it hurts. Yes, it's difficult. But I notice that my energy week after week starts to rise just a little bit. Those first 2 to 3 weeks tend to be the most difficult. But after time, you're getting out there, you're going camping again, you're setting up trips, you're hanging out with friends. And when you fill your cup up, that's when you can share back with others. And you can do that. You have to do that without the use of another person. If you can't make yourself feel better and you're always giving your emotional well-being to someone else, you're going to be dependent on that for the rest of your life. And it can cause you more anxiety, more pain in the long run if you're not able to have a healthy relationship with yourself first. So, no contact rule is good, but depending on your attachment style, anxious, avoidant, or secure, there's a great book on this called Attached that you should read. You have to understand how your specific attachment style is going to affect your ability to employ no contact, whether you did the breaking up or you got dumped. Hopefully that makes sense. The no contact rule is a good thing. And once you're ready, if that person does contact you or you want to contact them, you've worked on yourself enough to the point where you can have an emotional conversation without getting triggered. And that is always the goal with no contact. Hopefully that makes sense. Moving on to question number 2. What are the key differences between an anxious attachment and avoidant attachment when it comes to navigating conflict or emotional distance in a relationship? Great follow-up question. I will tell you this. Anxious attachment style. Anxiety is living too far in the future. When you have an anxious attachment style, you need love, you want touch, you want quality time. I'm not telling you to not want these things, but your wanting very quickly turns to needing it in order to make yourself feel good. When you need something, you're inherently admitting that there is a lack of that in your life. When I need daily affection, which again, wanting that is not bad. But when I truly need it in order to make myself feel good, that's borderline addiction. I should be able to make myself feel good without the need or use of another people. And when I need that too often in an unhealthy way, especially with a partner who is avoidant, because anxious people and avoidant people tend to be attracted to one another, your anxiety will cause you to run or to chase that person or to need something so often that you are losing your cool and having emotional reactions. I've witnessed this in my relationships a little bit. I think women tend to be a little bit more anxious in relationships, and I think that men tend to be more anxious after relationships end. An avoidant is a person who definitely wants these things, but they want them at a slower pace. That wanting or that needing of an emotional attraction or that emotional intention can actually push that person away. If someone's being anxious and they need it and they need it and they need it, they can actually push the avoidant away because the avoidant is only able to give these things at their pace due to trauma, due to childhood things, due to maybe how their parents were together or how they've observed relationships in life. I'm an avoidant person. And when I am dating an anxious partner, them needing and wanting things so often more than I'm able to give it makes me really uncomfortable and it makes me pull away. And I have to consciously work on fulfilling someone else's needs while simultaneously also figuring out what it is that I need and balancing the communication of those two things, which is inevitably challenging. It's very difficult for avoidance. People aren't avoidant by choice, people are avoidant due to trauma. And in a relationship, that anxious person will push the avoidant away, or that avoidant will pull away because they're being asked too much too soon or too often. And that needs to really, really be balanced during communication with your partner. Something to think about for you if you are an avoidant or an anxious person. Again, the best book I've ever read about this is called Attached. Please go and read this book. I think it's required reading. If you've been in a relationship or you want to get into a relationship, you should read this book. Now, when it comes to navigating conflict, communication is number one. Ghosting, not responding, playing games, those are all red flags to me. I'm too old for that, but I get for the younger generation, if you are doing these things or trying to navigate conflict, you need to learn to effectively communicate. And that means understanding yourself. If you don't understand yourself and you can't communicate things about yourself, how the hell is another person going to know what it is that you want or you need? How are you guys going to find a way to both come to the table and speak clearly? Maybe space is needed. Maybe you've broken up. Maybe the anxious person is coming back to the avoidant person after a relationship. Or maybe once the anxious person stops chasing the avoidant actually becomes pretty aware of that. And then they start chasing the anxious person. And then the roles switch. This happens often after relationships as well, especially when no contact is implemented. Emotional distance in a relationship is simply due to the inability to understand these attachment styles and you not being able to communicate. If you can't communicate and you don't know your attachment style and you don't know the other person's attachment style and you guys both can't talk about that, it's going to lead to the end or the dissolution of a relationship. Understanding needs, validating a person's emotions, and then being able to speak about your own is super healthy. I think that's one of the best traits about a masculine person is not that they just put all their emotions in a box, but they're able to effectively communicate these with their partner. Men looking at you, you have to understand this stuff if you want a solid relationship. Jumping to question number 3. For those with an avoidant attachment style, what are some strategies to cultivate healthier communication and intimacy in romantic relationships? This is probably my biggest issue. I have an avoidant attachment style. What are my strategies to cultivate healthier communication and intimacy? The number one thing that I have probably fumbled in my life and in relationships is truly understanding what my partner's needs are. Because I'm an avoidant person, I'm very independent. I like my space. I don't need to talk to people every single day. I don't even want to talk to people every single day. But that's not life. We can't just hide out in our homes. And I think for me, developing better, healthier relationships in the future, it's truly understanding where my partner or my future girlfriend or wife is coming from and what their needs are. It's like an avoidant person needs a list, understanding what the needs of their person are. I think if avoidant people had a dossier of all the needs of the other person that they want to see and date, we could probably find a way to facilitate that and come up with a better plan. As an avoidant, I don't need that daily communication. I don't need words of affirmation. I don't need daily touch. But I know that my partners in the past, they've needed that much more often than I do. And when I've been told that, hey, you're not fulfilling my needs, I'm not getting enough of this, I'm not getting enough of that, that makes me extremely nervous. I go, well, I'm giving you as much as I can. I'm giving you as fast as I can. I'm doing as much as I can. And if you need more and I'm only giving you what I'm capable of, now my needs aren't being fulfilled. Now my wishes for being independent, my needs for just space or just time to think or time to play or create on my own are not being well recognized. And that makes me really frustrated. So I'll inevitably just pull away. It's a fight or flight scenario. My nervous system gets jacked up. I have to pull away because I don't know how to facilitate someone's needs. And when I kept hearing that, hey, I need more touch, I need more hugs, I want to go out on more dates, I need more sex, I want to spend more time, I want to get to know you. I'm like, I'm going as fast as I can. I don't know what else to do. If that is the case over time, that can certainly lead to a breakup. I've seen that happen in my own life before, and I've tried to do better. I've literally tried to do better, but sometimes we're only capable of doing what it is that we're doing. In that case, if you're an avoidant person, you have to cultivate self-love more often. Chances are the avoidant person is also somewhat of a self-saboteur, meaning that they are self-sabotaging, meaning that they are making impulsive decisions when they get jacked up and get in that fight or flight scenario, right? They're either choosing to fight and engage in an argument, or they're running away and pulling away because your nervous system has been designed that way in order to keep you alive. The avoidant needs to cultivate self-love through meditation, through journaling, through spending more time alone, through really being able to answer, hey, am I going to be able to fulfill that other person's needs while also being able to fulfill my own? Avoidant people still need love and want affection and intimacy, but they generally want it a little bit less because they've learned to live without it for so long. Meaning that the anxious person, either they grew up in a super healthy household and got that love and affection and attention every single day, and now when they're not getting it, they're also being engaged in a fight or flight scenario. This is really, really important if you want to cultivate a healthier communication style and develop more intimacy in relationships. But that's going to be something that the anxious person needs to understand about their avoidant partner, and they need to be more understanding with that as well. You can't just get mad and get upset and say, well, you're not fulfilling my needs, therefore I'm out. There's going to be a time and a period and a level of patience. It doesn't mean that that avoidant person isn't falling in love with them at a deeper level. It just means that it's buried a little bit more and it's going to take longer for that seed to sprout and to grow. I can tell you that after breakups, me as the avoidant getting dumped, I've been like, wow, I really cared about that person, and I simply wasn't able to express that in a way that that person ever really knew. All of those feelings were there, but I had a hard time bringing them up past a certain chakra. My energy was blocked. And so I think meditation, doing self-love meditations, understanding where your partner is, what your partner wants, and how to be for your partner, these are things that you are going to have to do. These are things that you are going to have to work on. It is inevitable for you. So hopefully that gives you a good highlight on avoidant and anxious attachment styles as well. I love talking about this stuff, especially with my clients. If you've never read the 5 love languages, you should. There's so many books out there about this, especially for the workplace, especially with family, and also, of course, with intimate relationships. The book Attached is a book I highly, highly recommend for everybody. And the more that you start to learn about these attachment styles, not necessarily all of the tertiary ones, such as dismissive avoidant or dismissive anxious, understand these 3 primary ones because your goal is to work on having a secure attachment, needing and wanting and being able to give healthy and often enough to your partner and being able to communicate that stuff. That is always the goal. And if you need to sit down with your partner and develop a plan for more dates or how often you guys want to have sex or go on trips or just spend time with friends or no time at all or your need for independence, communicating these often enough, almost weekly or bi-weekly or at least monthly with your partner is always a good goal. Checking in, hey, how do you think we're doing here? Where are your needs not being fulfilled? What do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? I think that's a great way to just kind of speak with your partner. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You can send me questions via 3questionspodcast or excuse me, 3questionspodcast is on www.ckcollective.co. That's my mentoring and consulting website. And if you guys have questions, just send me a DM when you see this or on YouTube as well. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, hit me up. I wish you guys the best. Please work on this stuff. It will make you a better human being. And I'll see you guys in episode number 84. Thanks.